In this video, we are going to be covering how to create a design from a file, how to process that file, and how to view validation reports. The easiest way to get started in DX with processing is by opening a file explorer and simply dragging the file that you would like to process onto the design canvas. So if I click and drag here, that's going to automatically create a design, process the data, and navigate to the viewer. Once we're in the viewer, we can create plots, of course. I'm going to navigate back to the designer. This is a default design that was created based on the information found in the file. This file was recorded with Apex DS, our acquisition software, so it has some metadata in order to be able to divide up a few of the different signals into their own processing chains. Your chain will probably look a little bit different than this depending on the processing settings that you used or the software with which you recorded the data, but all files that can be processed in DX can have a design automatically created from them. This same design can be created with the Design from File button without automatically processing the data. So if I select all and hit delete on my keyboard, I can get rid of the design. I can do the same thing by clicking the delete selected button if you're not a fan of keyboard shortcuts, or you can click on the clear button or control delete to remove all of the elements from the canvas. I'm now going to click Design from File, and you can see that that opens up my file explorer, and now I can select a file that I would like to create a design from. Once I click on that, you can see that we have the same design created in our designer, but we have not processed and navigated to the viewer. So now I can click on either process, reprocess, or validate. I want to cover the validation report really quickly. The validation report contains lots of information that is helpful for documentation and knowing exactly how a file was processed, as well as the information that is contained in that file, such as sample rate and any other metadata that may be included. So you can see here, I have my data point information, I have my element information, and then I have a lot of signal information here as well. Something to note is that if you are using a limits file, which we'll cover later in this series, this is where you'll find a lot of the information about that limits file as well, and how it pertains to the channels that you're processing. This same report can be found by clicking the validation button in the viewer as well. Once I'm ready to process, say I've made changes to my design or I'm happy with what I have here, I can click on the process button and I can select any file that has the same signals and parameters that are found in the file that I created the design from. It doesn't have to be the same exact file to be processed through that design. So I created the design based on this 16AD file. I'm now going to process the 17D file. And you can see that that process is no problem. And the plots that I have already created in the viewer are refreshed with the data that is in that file that I just processed.